Today, we're going to dive into a concept that's as ancient as it is profound. It's a principle that's said to shape our entire universe and maybe hold the key to understanding our truest selves. So, let's get right into it.
Think about it for a second. We see order all around us, right? The seasons change, rivers flow, planets orbit. But what's the source of all that order? What's the invisible law that dictates not just the patterns of nature, but maybe even the stirrings of our own conscience? That's the huge question we're going to explore today.
So to get started, let's tackle the fundamental question. What exactly is the Tao? You've probably heard the word before, but what does it actually mean?
While the Tao is described as the absolute reality, you could almost think of it as the source code of existence. It isn't a god in the way we usually think of one, but it's more like the underlying principle that gives rise to absolutely everything. It creates, it governs, and it's the origin that everything eventually returns to.
Here's a great way to think about it. Gravity. We can't see it with our eyes, but we see its effects everywhere all the time. An apple falls down today just like it did yesterday and just like it will tomorrow. The Tao is kind of like that, a universal, constant, and unbreakable principle that's just always at work, everywhere.
And you can see this one principle showing up on every single level. In the heavens, it's the predictable cycle of the seasons. On Earth, it's the natural way water flows downhill. Even in our own technology, right? A train has to follow its tracks to get where it's going. And, according to this philosophy, it exists inside of us as our conscience, that inner moral compass.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This universal principle isn't just some force out there in the cosmos. The whole idea is that it's also deeply personal. It's the very core of our inner being.
This quote from The Doctrine of the Mean just nails this idea. It suggests that this universal principle, which it calls heaven, gives a piece of itself to every single person. And that piece, that's our true original nature. It's not something we have to learn or acquire, it's something we're born with. So this leads to this fascinating concept of two selves living inside one body. You've got the true self, which is described as our eternal, unchanging spirit. And then you have the false self, which is our physical body, basically a temporary vessel that's always changing and, eventually passes away.
And this false self, our physical body, is seen as this temporary mix of four elements. It's mostly water, right? Our blood and saliva. It's kept going by the fire of our body heat, it's animated by the wind of our breath, and it's built from the earth of our flesh and bones. And eventually, all those elements just go back to where they came from.
Here's a really beautiful analogy to help wrap your head around this. Your individual spirit, your true self, is like a single drop of water. The Tao is the entire vast ocean. The form and the scale are totally different, but the essence, the fundamental stuff they're made of, it's exactly the same. We are each a tiny part of that ultimate truth.
Okay, so this brings us to the most practical and probably the most important question of all. If we have this eternal divine self inside of us, where is it? How do we actually connect with it and stop identifying so much with our temporary physical self?
The path to answering that question is through a very specific spiritual practice. It's known as receiving the Tao. So let's take a look at what that actually means.
Now, it's really important to draw a line here between this practice and what we might think of as general worship. While general worship is often about asking for external things, blessings, health, good fortune, receiving the Tao is described as a journey inward. The goal isn't to get something, but to find the path back home to your true inner self.
So what actually happens during this act of receiving? Well, the core of the whole thing involves an enlightened guide called a heavenly teacher who literally points out a person's spiritual center. This spot is described as the gate of life and death, the sacred doorway where your eternal spirit is believed to live within your body.
And all of this brings us to our final question. Why? What's the point of this whole journey? What are the supposed benefits of finding this inner path and connecting with your true self?
According to the teachings, this single act leads to three incredible transformations. First, something called heavenly registration, where your spirit is said to be freed from the endless cycle of reincarnation. Second, this process is believed to unlock your own inner wisdom, your innate Buddha nature. And finally, by aligning with your true self, it's believed you can actually transcend your predetermined fate and create a new destiny.
This quote really drives home the sense of urgency here. The source material describes this as a rare, precious chance to find the path, an opportunity that a wise person would jump on without a second thought.
And we'll leave you with this final, really powerful idea. In a world that's just full of different roads and paths you can take, this philosophy says that the journey inward, the path of cultivating your own true self, is the only one that will never, ever lead you astray. It really leaves you wondering where true direction is found, doesn't it?